Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Courtney Ryan, and today we are talking about the Tinder Swindler, which has been a hot topic across Netflix, across the internet in general. I've seen a ton of people posting YouTube videos about this, but I wanted to give my 2 cents because I think it's really interesting how this happened, the fact that there was a documentary made about it, and if you've watched it, you know that this story is just a complete doozy to begin with. So I'm going to do a little analysis of how he was able to finesse these women. But then at the end, in order to help all of you guys out, I'm also going to show how women do this to men, because I think it's very common online and maybe just doesn't get an entire documentary made about it. So stay tuned to make sure that none of you guys get scammed. So when you're watching, as clear as day, you can see all of these red flags that these women just totally ignored, which is why I always tell all of you, see exactly what is in front of you instead of what you want something to be, because I think if these women would have done that, they would not have been scammed out of all this money and have been totally swindled by this guy. So first here, what do I think about it? I understand that there are a ton of polarizing opinions about it. I actually posted on my Instagram story and I asked all of you guys what you thought. And it was really interesting to read through and just see all of the differences in responses. Men saying different things, women saying different things, some women saying that the women were dumb. It was really all over the map. I'll put these up on the screen so that you guys can see them. But I'm going to be totally honest here. I'm not going to victim shame because I feel like unless you're in this situation, you don't totally understand. I had a bit of a hard time being empathetic, if I'm being totally honest, just because there were so many red flags and they were just so bamboozled by the fact that this guy had money, or they thought that he had money. And it kind of brings me to an interesting point, which is men are swindled by women's bodies or sex or beauty, and then women are swindled by a man's status and prestige and money. And I think it's really interesting to see the difference. And when you look at people who have been scammed, when you look at, women who get taken advantage of versus men who get taken advantage of, the pools are often the same on either side, and they're always completely different things for totally different reasons. So I think that's really interesting. I personally, as a content creator who makes content for men, have gotten so many messages from men telling me this woman in another country scammed me, or I sent money to this girl, or should I send gift cards to this girl I met online? I mean, I cannot make this up. The amount of messages, DMs, comments, emails I've got regarding scamming and online, romantic scams is a little bit concerning and astounding. So that's another reason why I wanted to make this video, because I think that, something might seem like common sense to you, but another person might have absolutely no idea. So I think it's really important to be able to see the warning signs and exactly what to look out for to make sure that this doesn't happen to you, because unfortunately it is so common. So first here, before I get into what all of you guys can look out for if you're dating online, is how the heck was this guy able to swindle all these people, convince all of these women to fund his entire life, right? And it's interesting because he didn't just swindle women. At the end, they showed people who came forward, and he pretended to be like a babysitter and was convincing all of these older people and parents to give him money too. He did not just swindle women out of money. He was getting money from people all across the map. So I thought that was really interesting, and clearly this guy is a professional and expert at what he does. I think that's pretty evident in the fact that he was able to get so many people to give him money, and he was a total fraud apparently. So how was he able to do this? Number one, he posed as someone with wealth, prestige, status, living this luxury lifestyle, which if you're trying to get people on your side, if you're trying to get people into your little pool, if you're trying to swindle women, I think often this is the way to do it, because what are women looking for in a man? A woman who especially is looking for something a little bit more luxurious. They want a guy who has the nice clothes. They want a guy who, has a private jet or takes them on trips. I think that's really how he got these women reeled in so quickly. And it was really interesting because he did the same exact thing with each girl. So they met at a 5-star hotel. Automatically the girl's like, yeah, I looked up the hotel. It was a 5-star hotel, super nice. She liked the fact that he was staying at the hotel, right? It swindled her in from the beginning. Then he flew them somewhere on the first date. Can you imagine going on a first date and someone has enough money to fly you somewhere? And on a private jet even? The whole thing was just wild. But when you really take a step back and look at it from the outside looking in, red flag. If you're just meeting someone, why the heck would they fly you somewhere on a first date to go to another country on their private jet? Too good to be true. If it feels too good to be true, it probably is. So that's how he reeled him in. Wealth, the status, and the luxury lifestyle. They went to his Instagram when they matched with him to check him out and make sure he was, who he said he was, which clearly they didn't look hard enough because he wasn't. But he was posing in front of nice cars, private jets. He's decked out in Gucci and Louis Vuitton and all of these designer logos that make him look like he's a billionaire, right? He looks the part. He fit the part. And I think he did a good job, pretending to be something that he was not. So initially, that's how he got them in. That's how they ended up on the first date. That's how he swindled them in the very beginning. But looking past that, how did he keep them around? Number one, emotional connection. He was pretending to be vulnerable and opening up to them and making them feel special. I think the girl said something like he was opening up to me and telling me about his past, and it just made me feel like he was, being vulnerable with me, and I felt special. That's how they reel you in. And another part of how he was able to keep them around and keep them kind of on a leash here is the fact that he was moving things so quickly and everything was so rushed. Even the first date was rushed. He said he was flying out to London the next day, so they had to meet that very day. Then he flies them out somewhere. That's moving things quickly. Then he wants to move in together after like a month or two. Like, he really, made sure things were moving very quickly. He was saying he missed her after one date. I mean, when you look at it, it's very easy to tell how he was rushing things and moving it quickly because he wanted to be able to scam them as quickly as possible. So although it was extremely rushed and he moved it very quickly in the beginning, he kept it drawn out long enough to make the girl feel like she could trust him, to make her feel like he, was who he said he was, and really made her feel secure and comfortable so that when he got to the scamming part of the equation, she didn't even think twice about it. So when it came to the actual scamming, he was saying things like, my enemies are out to get me, and used the fact that he said he was the son of a billionaire who owned a diamond company to manipulate these girls into, feeling bad for him and feeling like there was no other option. But again, when you look at it, it was clear as day. There were so many red flags. The fact that they had to take out credit cards in their name, the fact that he was asking them to sell their stuff and take out loans in order to fund his life, and then he would be gone. Obviously, this guy is a complete scumbag, as is anyone who scams people or manipulates people. I would say the same thing about a woman doing it. It's not just because it was a man. Anyone who scams people out of money is, in my book, a crappy person. This is happening so much more than we think, which is just another reason why it's so important to educate yourself and trust your gut. So these girls were so focused on finding true love and this like Disney princess thing, and the fact that he was a billionaire, and they thought that they had just, hit the jackpot, to realize what was actually in front of them. So again, educate yourself and listen closely. Okay, so now that we've covered how he was able to finesse all of those women, I want to talk about what you guys can look out for when you're doing online dating or when you're meeting new people to make sure that this doesn't happen to you, because a broken heart is bad enough. I don't want you to end up with an empty wallet too. Number one, and probably the biggest warning sign of them all, is that they ask you for money. This is clearly the most obvious, and just to put things into perspective for you, I have never in my life asked any boyfriend or even my fiance for money. Never. Not $10, not $1 for a gumball at the mall. I have never asked for money. I think asking someone for money is a red flag in general. But it's one thing to ask when you're in a relationship. It's totally different when you're just meeting someone online and you've never even met them in real life, right? If anyone asked me for money, I would simply say no. I don't care who the heck you are. I don't care who your dad is. I don't care what company you work for. I'm not giving you money. And I think all of you should have the same mindset when you're meeting people online or when you're meeting women and they ask you for money. Don't do it. So again, there are a million different scenarios and things that people could say to you in order to get money out of you. They could be asking you for gift cards, asking you for money to talk to them. They could say things like, I need money to support a sick relative. I need a loan for airfare to visit you. I need some startup money for a business venture. I mean, again, it could be a million different things, but I think if someone that you've never met before, that you've only talked to online, that maybe lives in another country, is asking you for money, don't do it. Simple as that. You heard it here first. Don't do it. Number two, they're moving too fast. So the same way that Simon did in the Tinder Swindler, he was, roping them in really quickly by moving things too fast. If a girl is doing this to you online, again, huge red flag to look out for. Scammers will often move things very quickly in order to, in return, speed up the scamming process, right? Did she tell you she wants to be your girlfriend after only talking to you once on the phone or messaging you? Did she say that she's going to visit you after only talking to you once? Does she tell you she loves you after one message chat? I mean, really pay attention to this. Again, if it feels too good to be true, it probably is. This is not a Disney movie. This is not some little princess, prince thing going on. This is your life, and I think you really should be picky about who you talk to and who you let be a part of it. So again, they're just trying to create that artificial connection so that they can manipulate you and use it to control you and swindle you into probably giving them what they want, which is more than likely money. Number 3, they live far, far away. And I'm not saying that long distance doesn't work. Some people do the long distance thing and they make it work, but you really want to make sure that this person is legit before you enter into a long-term relationship with someone. I remember on the show Catfish even, these people would be in like year-long relationships with this person that they've never met before or never video chatted, and then they meet them in real life, they show up at their house and they're a completely different person. So don't be swindled by someone just because they live in another country, if they're making excuses as to why they can't talk to you on the phone, why they can't video chat you. It's a huge red flag. So I know not every situation is the same. Like with the Tinder Swindler, the girls wouldn't have been able to use this as a red flag because they met up with him in person and like genuinely met him. So it was a little bit different there. But normally when there are romantic online scams, this person will be in another country. Maybe they say they're there for work or whatever it is, and they will not FaceTime you. They will not talk to you on the phone, and they just really want to message you and get you to give them money as quick as possible. So really think twice before you send $500 to that Russian model that you've never even FaceTimed. And the last little thing I want you guys to look out for is that they break their plans to visit you. So maybe they say after you've been talking to them for some time that they're going to come visit you, they need money for the airplane like I mentioned before, and somehow it always gets canceled. Someone is sick, maybe they're sick, there's always a last minute emergency, and they keep putting off this, plan to hang out with you. It's the same as when you're talking to a girl and you make plans to hang out with her and she keeps flaking or canceling on the date. I would say that that's a red flag. And normally in a regular, situation, not something like a scammer, the person would just be using you for attention or someone to text when they're bored or like be the fill-in guy and not necessarily even want anything serious with you or to hang out with you. But when a scam is involved, they don't really even see themselves being in a relationship with you ever. They're literally just using you to get money out of you or to get what they want from you, which again, more likely than not is probably money. So if they keep canceling on you, if they keep flaking, if they were supposed to visit you 10 times and they canceled every time, give it up. And a little pro tip here for all of you who are meeting people online, maybe the picture looks too good to be true, maybe the profile, you're supposedly talking to a model, but you're thinking maybe you're not. Do a reverse image search, because I think a lot of people could save tons of time and heartache and money if they would have just looked up this person's photo and would have seen clear as day that this person was pretending to be a totally different person and is not actually the person that you're talking to. So do a reverse image search. Don't be afraid to do a little digging on social media. A lot of scammers pretend to be someone else in order to lure you in. And I found this crazy statistic that I want to read all of you just to make it very clear to you how common this is. It says, according to the FTC, people lost nearly $547 million last year to online romance scam artists. Let that sink in. Moment of silence for everyone that lost even $1 to an online scam artist. Older users in particular are more often targeted by this type of scam, which makes me so sad because maybe they aren't as familiar with the internet. They don't know that people make fake profiles, and maybe they just try to see the good in people, and they're getting totally scammed and taken advantage of. So I don't want that to happen to you, and most people sadly don't realize it until it's too late. So please take this seriously. I know that this is just, a video about the Tinder Swindler, but really it's so much more than that. I don't want any of you guys to be scammed. So now that the documentary is out and, things have progressed a little bit, I'm sure you're all wondering, what is Simon doing now? Well, he has a new girlfriend. He's decked out in designer and he's on Cameo making money. So he seems to be doing okay. I'm wondering if he's still scamming people. If any of you guys have more details, let me know down below. But I also want to show you this video that I saw posted on his TikTok account. He had an Instagram account, it got deleted, but he made another one. But there have been so many people making accounts pretending to be him now, which I think is funny. Like he was pretending to be people and swindling people, and now people are making accounts pretending to be him. Full circle there. But I want to show you guys this video.
They presenting it as a documentary, but in truth it's like a complete film made up movie. I'm the biggest gentleman in the world, and they call me the Tinder.
He's the biggest gentleman in the world, apparently.
Tinder Swindler. I'm not a fraud and I'm not a fake. People don't know me, so they cannot judge me. I am not a Tinder Swindler.
Oh, and his new girlfriend is just sitting in the back, like being so proud. I'm wondering if he's using her for money too. I would hope that, you know, she saw the thing, and if he was using her for money, she would realize that what's happening to her as well. So who knows? But again, he's on Cameo. He's decked out in the designer again. So I'm assuming he's doing okay or has figured something out. So let me know down in the comments what you think about this entire situation. I think it's really interesting to see, you know, the polarizing opinions. I can definitely see both sides. I really tried to put myself on both sides of the equation here. Do I think that this guy's a scumbag? Yes, I do. I think anyone who scams people out of money and pretends to love them and do those things is not a good person. And I would say that if it was a man or a woman scamming. If a woman scams you guys, I don't think she's a good person either. I think anyone who does that is just really not the best. And then on the other side, I feel for the women because they were so persuaded and blinded by, this Disney princess love thing going on, and probably felt some level of desperation for this relationship and for this lifestyle that they wanted. So again, I can definitely see both sides. I would love to hear what you guys think. Let me know down in the comments below. If you liked this video or found it helpful, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel to be in the loop for when I release new content. If you haven't already, be sure to follow me on Instagram at Courtney Christine Ryan. I love connecting with all of you guys on there as well. As always, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.